Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection. Bring you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the director of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who's tried out on many a casting couches but never gotten a call back, Keith.
Hello.
And our murderer of the Sloss Furnace, Aaron.
Hello.
This week, Aaron picked the game. We played The Casting of Frank Stone by Supermassive Games. If you do not know, Supermassive Games, this is now our third game we have done from them. Our previous episodes we've done was Man and Medan, and also with Aaron was The Quarry.
I always forget the name of it.
But yes, so if you know those games, you know this game. But if you don't, The Casting of Frank Stone is a narrative-driven, choose-your-own-adventure horror film kind of game where you are playing, teenagers who are trying to shoot a film. But of course, some spooky stuff starts happening, and you gotta, survive and fight for your life, and hopefully make correct choices. Because if not everyone may get out alive. I was trying to think of an intro that wouldn't give any spoilers.
Good job. Doesn't it actually say right at the beginning, like, some people will die, or is there like truly a no death ending?
No, there's an achievement saying all survive.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's usually the shtick with Supermassive. Everyone can die and everyone can live.
True. No, and I kind of expected that, but I guess I was just curious because it explicitly kind of called out that people would die, but it's more just like a, hey, if people die, carry on. That's the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That is a good question because the uniqueness about this game is that this also takes place in the Dead by Daylight universe, which if you don't know, Dead by Daylight, it's a 4v1 multiplayer game where 4 survivors are trying to escape a serial killer, in which the serial killer is trying to sacrifice those people to a evil being called the Entity. So this is taking in that universe, which starting off, I know the answer, but I guess at least have you all say it. Do you guys know the Dead by Daylight universe?
Enough. We played it many years back, so I know enough. I know it's pretty expansive, but it's also expansive in a way like Super Smash Brothers is expansive. Like they just pull in all of these different horror people from all over the things, but ultimately, it's the Entity, and you're trying to escape said entity.
I'm very much aware of Dead by Daylight, so I've seen it enough. I've probably played a couple rounds of it, but that's about it. I used to watch people stream it though, so I feel like I have a decent enough grasp on it.
All right. And I know it quite well. I actually, as Keith said, we reviewed it, but I actually played it for a good month or two after that. I had a lot of fun with it. And as Keith said, it's, pretty expansive now. They have a lot of famous IPs. You have Ripley from Alien in it. You have, what's his face from The Walking Dead. Yeah, Nicolas Cage is in it.
That's awesome.
I forgot about that. But so it's kind of an expanding universe of that game. But before we begin, I also want to remind everyone, please make sure you go to GamePassGrabBag.com, check out our website for our previous reviews of games that we've done. Also check out our link tree, join our Discord, come join us, say hi, join our live recordings. But yes, let's get into this, whether it's a game or a pass. I will start this off. So as I said, we've played multiple Supermassive games. And as far as The Casting of Frank Stone goes, this is a pass. I did not like this game. I actually am even borderline saying hard pass, but there was some redeeming moments. But if you were going to play one Supermassive game, this is not it. I was very disappointed in this. I did not like its story. I thought there was a lot of plot holes. Usually Supermassive games consist of QuickTime events, and they kind of got rid of them. This game is a way less of a game and just more of a sitting back and hope you pick the right thing. I wasn't a fan. I'm giving it a pass.
Man, Andrew bordering on a hard P. It's shocking, really. I was gonna pretty much agree with you in the sense of that, like, thinking about the Supermassive games, I was like, I forgot Man and Medan, but that one I remember going, wow, I didn't think I would like this. Really cool, really liked it. Knew what I was getting into. The Quarry, really cool, really liked it. Thought the same of this, and you are 100% right. It's the worst of those three, and I know there's more than just those three, but of the three we played, this is my least favorite for sure, which is a bummer. And I think it's added on because I was like, the Dead by Daylight seems cool, and it just seems like they're trying to be like, hey, cool, this is Dead by Daylight, and a couple different areas we could talk about that, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I wasn't going to give it a pass because I do still like the style, and there is still some of the quick time events, but it's a lot more of just what I would call slow time events.
well,
It's like
if you play,
grab door, open
the quick time
door,
events are
interact.
it's Dead by Daylight. If you play Dead by Daylight, it's just you hit A in an area and that's it.
That was the thing I was going to get into.
Oh, sorry.
Or that I figured we'd get into. But my point being is that, yeah, even the like I said, the quick time events, I would call them more slow time events, where it's like interact with door, grab door handle, pull door handle. And you're just like, why do I have to do these 4 slow, boring movements? And you have all the time in the world to pick all of your dialogue. Nothing really matters for that. I liked the idea of it, but I didn't think it was, and I wanted to see it through, and I probably will finish it because it's fairly short. But I wasn't impressed with a lot of the gameplay portions of it. I thought the story was kind of interesting though. But yeah, I'll still give it a game because almost like a roguelike type of thing. Like I like the genre and I like how it plays out. It's not that great.
Yeah, as far as it goes with this style of game, like I feel like my baseline on this is like a 75. Like that's where I'm going to start before I even fire up the game. You've got a 75 because I like these types of games because it kind of combines 2 things, or maybe you can add 3 things that I really, really enjoy. I enjoy movies. This is basically a movie. I enjoy choose your own adventures. Well, this is choose your own adventure. And I like mysteries. And this has the mystery. And that's kind of what all these games, their premise is kind of built around. So I kind of start at a 75 as a baseline on these. It's just kind of where I generally enjoy these. I'm going to end up giving 2 ratings.
Well, to clarify, are you saying you would never go a score below 75?
No, I would say I'm starting at 75. If I fire this thing up, it's at a 75. And in most cases, it's working its way up.
Wait, so do most games start at a 0?
0, yeah. Every game starts at a 0.
I'm starting to earn your score.
And then you're like, good menu screen. Okay, 10 points. 10 points.
That's how you do it. So I'm actually going to give
10 points.
I'm going to give 2 recommendations here. Okay. My own personal recommendation, this is a pass. I was kind of fluctuating. There are moments where I was like, I really like this. And then it totally would do something just bonkers or stupid that I was like, come on. And it felt like it kept fluctuating the whole way through. So then when you get to the end and the credits roll, I'm like, did I actually enjoy that? The answer is no. And right now, my favorite of all of these, I think, is the Quarry. I think the Quarry was my favorite of this bunch. This one falls short. So for me, pass. However, I would say this is a definite game if you are a Dead by Daylight fan. Here's why. I think that it does enough to kind of expand the universe and lore of Dead by Daylight. Like you said with Dead by Daylight, it is a multiplayer cooperative game. That's what it is. So I think if you want more to that universe or you want to expand that universe, this is actually a decent way of doing it. I'm not saying if you're a Dead by Daylight fan, you will love this, but I would say that I think it expands your universe enough and does enough there that I think it would actually be worth checking out. So I would say that's who I'd be recommending this to. Just the average person, probably not. This would be a pass.
You know, it's kind of weird because having not an extensive knowledge of this, maybe this is where someone who is a big Dead by Daylight fan would disagree with me, but someone who just has dabbled, so to speak, I thought it fell kind of flat. Like it's there, and I agree with you that this is cool, that it expands what's an otherwise pretty much like a hey, means to an end, there's no story, entity, yada yada. But it felt still like there was just, I don't know. It again, I didn't finish it either, but I still feel like what I was seeing wasn't gonna make this like, oh man, all of a sudden all of Dead by Daylight at least kind of has a backstory now.
The very end of it does at least give purpose to Dead by Daylight at the very minimum. Now, again, we can argue, is there enough there? Does it actually make sense? We can totally make that argument, because I do think there's absolutely, I think Andrew was spot on before you even get into the story. The story's got plenty of holes. It's got holes all throughout it. It's kind of a mess in that sense. I think the narrative really falls apart in a bunch of areas here. But at least by the end, you are very much confronted with, oh, like, I'm going into Dead by Daylight now. Like, I'm going into the game right now, which is kind of, I think, kind of at least an interesting way of connecting these things. And again, it's why I go back to, I think it makes sense for a Dead by Daylight fan to actually, and they don't disguise it. They very much put it front and center in your face that this is in the Dead by Daylight world, which, by the way, last week when we talked about this game and you said Dead by Daylight, in my brain was thinking of, is it Dead by Dawn? What's the Sony one that was like, I think it was Supermassive that made that game, and then they made a movie of it this year.
Oh, Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. I was thinking it was that universe. So I was like super confused when I brought this up, and I was looking at it. I was like, oh, Dead by Day. I forgot about this. Just wasn't expecting that.
Is there Frank Stone in Dead by Daylight?
He's the original villain, right?
Yeah.
That's the original guy.
I don't know if he's original, but he is in it, yes.
I remember there being a guy with a mask.
Have to add off this game.
The main guy you're probably thinking of is not the hillbilly. I think it's the trapper, because he has a mask that looks kind of similar.
That could be.
That sounds right.
But see, I disagree here. To me, I don't think a Dead by Daylight fan would like this. See, like what I was expecting when you played Dead by Daylight, you can go to all the survivors and the villains, and it gives a biography. Obviously, with the villains, it's usually pretty dark. Oh, this person hunted children, blah, 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 or something just crazy. And I thought that's all it was going to be, was here's a character. We're fleshing out that biography page. That's it. And obviously sprinkle in like, oh, the entity, blah, blah, blah. To me, this did not expand the Dead by Daylight universe. It gave a little more backstory to this one villain, but it just, to me, it felt like it was more trying to be a nostalgia trip. Because like, to me, if you play Dead by Daylight, the main component for the good guys is you fix these generators. Those generators felt so forced as to where they are in this game, where it's like, hey, look, it's that car generator. Like,
I did immediately,
and it does that
I
sound.
like, oh, there it is.
But failing
to me,
that
I'm just
didn't
like,
do anything.
It to me just felt like it just was a nostalgia trip.
I guess I'm a little bit conflicted on that, because some of those things I don't hate. I think it's clever if you're making a game, but you're clearly connecting another universe to it. You want to do some of that stuff. I will agree with you that I think some of that stuff is poorly implemented. The generators are a great example, because when you're playing Dead by Daylight, if you fail at the generators, you're giving yourself away to be killed.
Yep. And the monster attacks you, which only one generator that happened at.
Yeah, if you fail the generators, it
just takes longer.
Yeah, nothing really happens. So fine, you can maybe argue it's a poor implementation. I still thought it was like a good way to add elements of that game into this. So I don't hate all of those things.
I mean, yes and no, because I mean the generators, correct me if I'm wrong, they're completely different in the gameplay of Dead by Daylight, and obviously it doesn't have to be a 1-for-1 mirror.
What do you mean? Those like are cosmetically, or
well, I guess those generators are opening doors, right? So you need
to activate 4 generators and it opens the exit
to open the door. So I guess I was just thinking like, it's a generator to open a door, like that's a whatever kind of a lame use of it, but no, that's the exact same. That is Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's my thing though, Andrew, and so this is kind of where I would kind of push back on you a little bit on this. Just because your expectation was the game was going to be this, you wanted a fleshed out monster. But really what the game was really giving you a backstory to the entity.
But it doesn't. It explains how the entity... I don't know if we want... I guess it's not really a spoiler. It's an explanation how the entity gets there. But it doesn't explain the origin of it, why it's there, what its purpose is.
No. I think some of that stuff, again, is thin.
Fleshed out with at least some of the pickups and stuff, right? Because like you're finding like books and stuff that talk about like what they're investigating, so to speak.
Here's where
it's
it fails.
Very loose.
Yeah,
I know it's loose, but it's
if I were them making this game, and let's compare it to The Quarry, what I thought was really good with The Quarry is it had a decent narrator to kind of fill in some gaps. This versions of the narrator is one of the characters in the game, and I don't think she gives you enough. So if I were to redo this, because you're right, like, right, you can do this two ways. You can either go give a backstory to one of the monsters, or you do a backstory to the entity itself. So the thing that all the monsters are working for. I think it's a smart move to go towards the entity, because that's the thing you're least fleshed out if you're playing Dead by Daylight. You don't see it. You don't interact with it. So I think doing that makes sense. But I will agree with you again. I come back to the narrative as a problem here. The narrative, I feel like, takes an eternity to build up and about 0.3 seconds to resolve.
Yes.
And
oh my God. Yes.
It's a massive problem for this game, but
it was so slow.
So I wasn't wrong about this, right? Because I'm about halfway through.
Oh, it's slow as all get out.
And there's
so slow.
And so what's crazy is this game is somewhere between 6 and 8 hours, give or take.
Yeah, I finished in 8.
It's like halfway through that 6 to 8 hours where all of a sudden, I don't want to say anything happens, because a lot happens, but anything that's like, oh wow, this is supernatural, this is wild. Like, up until that 3-hour marker or so, I'm just like, it's a lot of like spooky vibes. Someone might be around the corner, someone might not be. It was all vibes. And then all of a sudden,
loose vibes, I'd say.
One of the cooler cutscenes I've seen in a game like this, or kill scenes, I will say, at least in my playthrough. I don't know how it happened for you guys, but it's like all of a sudden that happened. I was like, whoa, that's cool. Like, I'm kind of in on this all of a sudden. But to that point, I'm over halfway through the game, and I'm like, well, so this is gonna wrap up in like 30 minutes now, I guess.
Yeah, it's just the pacing on this thing is a complete disaster.
Yeah,
and it's spooky vibes. You know what kind of sucks too, though, is the opening chapter to me was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Liz was watching me. Liz was like covering her eyes. Like, it started off strong, and then it was just boom, downhill.
That opening chapter was, to me, outstanding. And I was like, okay, we might be in for an all-timer here. If this is how it's going to start out, I'm feeling real good about this. And holy smokes, that throttles way back down for about the next 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And that to me is a bummer. I mean, just story-wise, man, this was so poorly paced. I will say, all right, one thing I do really like about the story, because I should compliment some of it, because it's not all bad. I do like that the story takes place in technically 3 different time periods.
Yeah.
I do like that. I do like that it spends most of the time kind of shifting between 2. So modern, and then 1985 or something like that. So
which most of their games do that.
Yeah.
Man of Medan did that, and I'm pretty sure, and The Quarry did too.
Did it? I don't really remember that. It's been a long time since I played Man of Medan, but I don't remember there being time shifts either.
You might be right.
No, I think Quarry shifts like within that summer. I feel like it gets like it'll cut to the current point of where they're at
story,
and then and you'll play some scenes of like the summer maybe, or things like that.
Yeah, okay,
it's not,
you're right.
I felt like this one felt kind of unique in the sense that all these characters are connected, but they're connected through 3 different time periods. Some of them in both time periods. So it's. I think that's, to me, I really enjoyed that. I think that's really smart. I thought that was a good way of kind of doing it storytelling, because I enjoy that, especially when I'm watching like a movie where it leaves you on a cliffhanger and then sends you, back in time, and then it brings you back to that cliffhanger. And it did that a couple times, only a couple. Because
to me, I thought the jumping was too much, because it was like 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here, now 15 minutes there, now 5 minutes
that
there.
Kind of comes back to the pacing, and this is where it almost felt like a book, because like some chapters were super short.
Mm-hmm.
It would literally be on there for a couple minutes and then it cut again, and you're like,
Yeah,
in a
you
book.
walking a few feet, get a little exposition, next chapter.
Yeah, I
And
see
it's
that
like,
in a
okay.
book. Like you'll get to some chapters that are just like 2 pages, and it's like filling you in on something and then taking you back. And this kind of did that, and I was like, well, that's odd to do in a video game, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
See, and this is why for me, I don't think I can recommend it to a Supermassive fan or a Dead by Daylight fan, because like that's like I said, as I was expecting, just a fleshed out story of a villain in Dead by Daylight, you know, but it's a Supermassive game, but it just wasn't there. Like, I mean, we're already kind of talking about story, but like with the gameplay though, it's like because I remember, you know, the main bread and butter of Supermassive Games are QuickTime events, and one choice is really as much of a spoiler is go through the woods or jump over like this bridge. And Liz was watching me. She goes, "Oh, I bet if you do that bridge, that's a QuickTime event," and it wasn't.
Nope.
I literally selected it, and it just went okay.
They-
I was like,
But
what,
you know what
what
the
is
worst part
this?
is they'll do things like that, and in Supermassive they always kind of do this, but then there's randomly one where, like after that, you expect it to be like, and then they just throw this random QuickTime event at you, and you're like, oh, and it actually does make sense. I'm not even mad about the QuickTime event they do throw in there, but they have so many that should be, because I think even like you nailed it, or kind of it goes back to the first scene of the game or the first chapter of the game that has a ton of QuickTime events,
Yeah,
and they're fairly unique. It's like, you know, move this way, and you're like, okay, it's setting up all these different types of QuickTime events it's going to give me, and then it's a bunch of hit A
yeah.
until, again, maybe 3/4 of the way through the game, give or take.
But there's not a lot of action. Like not a lot
very little.
action wise happens in this game. In fact, the only time you're running in a QuickTime event is the beginning and the end. You
Yep.
get a few, and a very sparse few spattered in the middle, but that to me is part of the problem with the writing. QuickTime events make sense for action sequences. I don't like them.
I mean, to me, it's to keep you engaged. Like, I remember when I first started playing this, I got excited where I'm like, oh, there's a lot more walking. I could do a lot more interacting with stuff in this game. And then within like the first like hour or so, I'm like, please take this away from me. I do not want to be walking around. I am sick of exploring.
To me, it felt very similar to The Quarry. Like, I didn't feel like it was. It was.
Yeah, it was a lot of just
different.
like, make sure I turn.
Collecting
Something
useless
doesn't.
trinkets.
I don't remember if the court, actually, I thought it was fairly good on that. It's like there's like 12 dolls, 12 trinkets, and maybe one other type of collectible.
Yeah, like news articles are considered collectibles.
It's actually not, so it's not too bad on the overall collectible counts, but I don't remember if the quarry did this. It's hard because on one, like where you go the right way, or maybe not even like the right way, but like the choose your pathway, and you don't realize you're doing it, and you're like, I still wanted to explore. Like there was parts I would just walk up to a door and be like, well, let me just check this, and it's like, well, now you're going to the next scene. I didn't look at anything in this room.
This did a good job though of letting you know.
Yeah, I do like.
I only thought there was one time that it told me I couldn't go back.
No, anytime you went up to a door and it had the A and it had kind of a glow around it,
you had a hold A.
Yes, it meant
that
like if you do this.
Oh yeah, I guess the hold. I didn't think of the hold part of it.
So anytime,
I feel like there was a couple doors that didn't have that, but I could be wrong.
Because at the bottom right corner too, it even showed an A with like
Yeah,
multiple arrows.
Yeah,
and
I know
that
what you're
meant
talking
that
about.
was like progressing the chapter.
But I'm just saying, I could have sworn there's a couple times I did that where it was just like a normal door open. But I could be totally wrong. I'm not gonna stake my ground on that.
Here's the killer though. Here's like my issue with all of that. What could you possibly miss?
Well, again, just collecting trinkets. Honestly, if that's what it mostly is. There was a couple pieces of the news articles I thought were kind of interesting lore. Stretching, I know, but
I don't mind that stuff. I don't mind picking up the lore stuff. I don't mind that, and I don't mind somebody going out and exploring that type of stuff. I don't mind that. The collecting trinkets for the sake of trinkets, though, it's just not for me. And then once you kind of miss one, you're like, oh well, there you go, my collection's screwed. So
yeah, I gotta go back to this game and go over again.
But what was great about the quarry is like there was a benefit. If you got it, you got a glimpse of the future.
Yes,
that was cool. In this game, in the casting of Frank Stone, this irritated me. You constantly see this fishing tackle box, but you can open it and it just shows you your collection of trinkets.
Yeah.
Why is that there? Put it in the pause menu. I got so sick of opening this stupid tackle box because I'm like, I don't know.
The third time I realized what it was, I stopped opening
I did too. Well, but I'm like, I don't want to risk missing something. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to open this stupid tackle box. No reason for it. Make it in the pause menu. Why is it there? Why am I interacting with this? Get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was irritating me.
Yeah. I go back to I don't like the lack of them being useful. You know, like you said in the quarry. It's funny because the quarry was slightly longer than this. But I said I wouldn't want to go back and replay the quarry.
I think the quarry's much longer. Wasn't the quarry like 10?
Quarry took a while.
I know. I was thinking 9.
It's like 8 to 10.
I don't know, 6 to 8 versus 8 to 10. I feel like it's a jump, but it's not a huge jump. The quarry felt a lot longer because it felt like start to finish things were happening. And I think that's the biggest difference here is that so much of this gameplay is just boring.
Quarry's 9 to 11 hours.
The quarry was because the quarry was a long setup too, and I think these games need a long setup. I do think that that's important, so I don't want to discredit that. Like, I don't want to sit there and say you shouldn't have this. These are narrative-driven games. The buildup needs to be there. I need to care about these characters, so you got to give me a minute to figure them out and interact with them a little bit. Like, that's kind of important to the process. I'm okay with that. But the thing is right, when the quarry got going, it got going. And there you go. You're going to fall out to the end of this. This was a massive buildup for, I'm not even kidding, maybe really 35 minutes of action.
Yeah.
And that to me is just poor pacing. I'm fine with that buildup. I'm totally cool with some spooky vibes for a while to kind of understand these characters. I do think a little bit of the problem here is you are following 2 different timelines too that are both not experiencing action. So you've got some problems there. I just think that needed to be mapped out a little bit better.
See, I'm with Keith. To me, the quarry, like it was like an hour at most, and already action was happening.
I don't know.
That first scene in the quarry.
Yeah, but I mean, great. Well, that's all these games always start with a very heavy.
You gotta have a good setup.
Yeah,
but no, I would disagree because you're just interacting with a bunch of kids, teenagers, walking around.
Because night falls and
yes, but there's still, it takes a few hours to get to that buildup. It takes because they have to get to nighttime, so they got to go find beer. They're hanging out inside the main cabin, like.
But they make spooky. They actually follow through with the vibe of what they're doing, even just in small ways. I felt like
all I'm saying is what's beneficial there is it pays off. The buildup pays off. This one doesn't. That to me is its problem. Is there's absolutely no payoff there. Because there was no pacing. There was no proper pacing for it.
Well, the game's literally called The Casting of Frank Stone. You don't see Frank Stone until the end. And to me, that was weird. Yeah, the beginning, the end. It's just like,
but also, I guess if we're talking about, for Dead by Daylight fan, someone who's really into Dead by Daylight, that game is intense. It's fast paced.
Yeah.
It's urgent. It's imminent. None of those adjectives apply to The Casting of Frank Stone. There's no urgency. There's no imminency. It's so slow, and you never feel in danger. You might until again there's a quick time event. It's like, well, decide what you're gonna do, and maybe someone dies, someone lives, and that's about it. So it's kind of that's where it falls very flat of living up to anything Dead by Daylight. It's the opposite of it.
It's not Dead by Daylight though. And that's the thing.
No, I get that, but the world should feel similar. It doesn't even feel similar because in Dead by Daylight, you feel like you're, getting chased by Tweety Bird, there's just always this monster out to get you. But
but I'm not here.
I didn't. The biggest monster was my older sister who snuck up on us.
But the reason I can't take shots at it is the ending of the game sets you up for Dead by Daylight, the video game.
It's not a shot at. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like it in any way.
I'm just saying, but it's not supposed to because Dead by Daylight technically doesn't exist until the video game doesn't exist until the end of this video game. This is a prelude to that. So that feeling would happen in Dead by Daylight technically doesn't exist until the end of this game.
Okay, so we need like
No,
a Tamagotchi Mario that where we grow him up to become Mario.
Exactly.
And that will just be a Mario game.
You're not totally right though, Aaron. But I don't want to explain. Well, we'll get in the spoiler cast. I'll explain why you're kind of a little wrong there. See, I'm more with Keith on this. To me, because like it is constantly plastered in your face of Dead by Daylight stuff. You know, there's a moment where you're walking as the character and it has those red scratch marks that happens in Dead by Daylight. The sound effects, same as Dead by Daylight. You're collecting the dolls, all from Dead by Daylight. It's just, and like that's the thing of it's just constantly reminding you this is Dead by Daylight.
They're homages.
Nah. To me, like I said, it felt like a forced nostalgia trip.
I don't know. I'm okay with that blend. Again, my only issue here is just that it was actually too thin on this storytelling. I think it needed to do more. But I thought the actual blend of Dead by Daylight to a Supermassive Game, like, all right, this actually is the right feel for it.
Because it's a good idea. I didn't think it was implemented well.
That's the thing. That's my biggest thing about it. Even from a Supermassive standpoint.
Andrew literally just listed a bunch of things from Dead by Daylight in this game. You can't...
Things. A bunch of imagery.
You cannot do a choose-your-own-adventure game with an action. Then your character dies. Then, okay, there you go. End of line. It's choose-your-own-adventure. You can't constantly...
Those felt action to a certain degree. Yes, I understand they are still choose your own adventure. They're still this story-driven game, but they felt like you were involved in the story beyond just selecting a dialogue piece. And that is
Supermassive Games. Oh, another quick time events.
Did you not play The Quarry? That's what I'm saying.
Play The Quarry.
The Quarry was that, but it didn't feel like it was all dialogue.
I
felt like I was doing things.
Hold on, Keith. I didn't play The Quarry and the whole time go, this doesn't feel like Dead by Daylight. Because it's not.
Because it wasn't in the Dead by Daylight universe.
It doesn't matter if it's in the Dead by Daylight universe. It's a Supermassive game. It's a choose-your-own-adventure game.
Horizon and wondered that it didn't feel like Grand Theft Auto. Because it's a different game.
This is a different game. This is a Dead by Daylight.
You open up The Quarry and think it was Dead by Daylight.
This was not Dead by Daylight. It is not a sequel to Dead by Daylight.
This is not Pokemon.
This doesn't. You can't sit there and say it doesn't feel like Dead by Daylight because it's not Dead by Daylight. It's in the Dead by Daylight.
The casting couch of Frank Stone is. Yeah, I caught that joke, Andrew.
It's in the Dead by Daylight universe. I think you guys are trying to take another game, superimpose it on here, and say, well, it doesn't really feel like that. Well, yeah, of course it doesn't feel like that.
It's in the universe.
When they put it in the title, it literally always even in the main screen when you boot up the game. It's one thing to see on the cover art, but it's literally in the menu.
I know.
Dead by Daylight universe. This is Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight universe. I got it.
And it is a bunch of imagery, but it falls flat of a Supermassive game too, is what I'm saying. It's not even falls flat of the Dead by Daylight universe from the action standpoint. But if all the games that they're going to fail on the action standpoint, this is the worst one to do it.
I'm not disagreeing.
I agree with Keith.
I am not disagreeing with literally any of that. I am saying...
Then why are you yelling at me?
The game is slow. The game is slow. There is not a lot of action. 100% that is a problem. My issue is the critique that it doesn't feel like Dead by Daylight. And it's not supposed to, and it shouldn't because it's a choose-your-own-adventure. If I am the main character and Frank Stone comes out and he can just kill me at any point, well, there we go. Narrative lost. And there are moments in these games, in these narrative games, just like The Quarry, where those moments do need to happen, where a character should be threatened with death. Okay, but that should not exist throughout the entirety of this game.
So just throw that out for this game. We just throw out that whole concept of what these Supermassive games
I'm not disagreeing with that part.
We just say no. We don't need to do that anymore.
I am not
Dead by Daylight, and no one dies in Dead by Daylight. No one ever dies in that. Let's throw it out the window.
I'm not.
Let's make 4 hours of cutscenes. And make you choose 72 dialogues.
That's what that game is.
And call it Dead by Daylight.
This is insane. You're saying you wanted Dead by Daylight.
Attacked this episode.
You wanted another Dead by Daylight. That's all you wanted.
No, I wanted a good Supermassive game that took place in the Dead by Daylight universe. All I got was a weak Supermassive game that goes, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that looks like Dead by Daylight, that sounds like Dead by Daylight, but it's nothing that feels like this game in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't even feel like one of our games.
Keith, are you going to switch this to a pass now?
I think that...
Andrew, can you give me the fart sound, please, right now? I need that.
Don't hit the fart sound. He did not earn the fart sound. His point was not... He literally agreed with me. So the fart sound's for him. Good. It's not working? Excellent.
No,
how did I agree with you?
It's not working.
Okay, hold on.
There it goes.
Here. All right, because me and Keith fall on the same point. I only want to pose one question. I'm going to pose it to Andrew. How would you make this feel more like Dead by Daylight, but also still keep it a Supermassive game?
So, as I said, I would have just loved a Supermassive game, okay? Literally do this game, but like to me, like I said, I think a lot of the hindrance in why the pacing was so off is because they kept trying to plaster you with, to remind you, Dead by Daylight, hey, here's statues. Like even when you're exploring the manor, you see the hillbilly statue, you see a diorama of one of the levels that also has the villain's totems. Like you're constantly just seeing these icons of Dead by Daylight stuff. I don't want that. Like I get it. Like you can sprinkle stuff here and there, but to me, I felt like they ruined their pacing and their gameplay because they were trying so hard to be like Dead by Daylight. I wanted those QuickTime events. Like there was, like I said, the point I made of I jumped over this bridge that was dilapidated. I thought, oh, this is gonna be a QuickTime event where I gotta dodge some things. If not, a character might get injured and it's gonna cause an issue later down the line. Like I obviously didn't think they were gonna die because this is pretty early in the game. But like that's what I was expecting. No, doesn't happen. And like I said, the only QuickTime events was the skill check that you get in Dead by Daylight. I don't need that. And this is why I think it falls flat for both a Supermassive fan and a Dead by Daylight fan. A Dead by Daylight fan, as Keith is saying, super heavy action, multiplayer, you're on your toes, you're constantly running, you're always in threat, you're trying to hide. That's not what this is. You're just getting, oh, hey, it's the skill checks that you know in Dead by Daylight. Okay. But as a Supermassive fan, it's like, it's not what I'm here for. It's not what a Dead by Daylight fan's for. So I would have just liked if they just did the story, but added, because that's the thing. Even if they didn't build more action and everything like that, if you just sprinkled more of those QuickTime events and like felt like there was danger, things for me to succeed in and stuff like that, I legitimately was falling asleep. And it's like, that's not a good sign. If this is all about story and I'm trying to be invested with these characters, I don't feel that. Like if you just did that and then still ended and wrapped it up the way it did to be like, hey, this is why it's a Dead by Daylight kind of game. Okay, that's fine. But it was just the meat of it, and the between was just so slow.
I don't know if it's just QuickTime events though. I think there genuinely just needed to be more danger.
Exactly, and this is my thing, right? Which now you made me mad, Aaron, because you're like, oh, what is you're just being chased by a monster all the time, and then your character dies. Then there needs to be more danger. Which is it, first of all? But this is kind of my whole thing, right? Is in the quarry for a large majority of the game, they set it up for the first couple hours that there's something kind of hunting you. Then it takes off, and then for the next 4 hours of the game, you're pretty much under some sort of threat of this thing around your characters. Now there's like what 6, 8 of them there, but in Dead by Daylight, it's 4v1. Like there should be 4 characters and they're far too often all together. They should be spreading them out, making these cutscenes where you're say like in the 80s, spread them out, cut them apart from each other, and like make it more about running from a thing. They're trying to avoid the police so that they can shoot their movie, and finally there's some danger. Like it's just, even in this world, you could make it feel more Dead by Daylight, where it's these 4 characters working together against an entity that's chasing them. None of that is happening. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. The game is slow.
Then why are you?
I'm literally saying that because I don't know the game had to feel. Thank you. All right, we're literally going around in circles, pretty much saying the same thing over and over again.
I
right,
was just so confused.
One more thing I wanted to tap on though with the gameplay that irritated me was the relationships. What was the point of that? Like, as you're playing your picking choices, somebody's upset, and then you can either choose to comfort that person or not. Like, that's a broad example. And if you do, you gain relationship points. What was the point? Like, I know there's an achievement to get two
assumed it
people at
would
maximum
change
relationship, but
dialogue.
I don't know that. Like, that's what irritated me. Because some of the things you do, somebody presents you an object. Do you accept the object or not? And it'll say fate changed. You accepted it or you didn't accept it. Why didn't they add that? Hey, you failed because you're not a strong relationship with this person. But they don't tell you that. So I don't know what relationship is doing. Because I never got a dialogue of I don't trust you, I'm not following you kind of thing.
The
So I don't
only
know
thing
what
I
it
could
did.
think of, and I only had it once. And I don't know if it was why, but I had a third dialogue option, and I'm
That's
wondering if
because you found a clue in the room, which I thought was a cool gameplay
I mean, it
aspect.
is, but I guess I maybe there's a fourth dialogue option relationship. I don't know. So here's my question, because I don't want to say I complain about it, but I comment on it every time we play a game that has a celebrity, like at least like movie celebrity, so to speak, Hollywood celebrity. And I feel like I'm usually like, oh, it kind of throws me off. Like I can't get past it. Now in the Supermassive universe, Man of Medan, The Quarry, both of them had that, and I actually think they nailed
Honestly,
it.
all
Both
of
of
them.
them.
If you look at their catalog, they all usually have a
This one
couple
didn't
heavy
do
hitters.
any of that.
Yeah, it had none.
And honestly, it felt awful. I don't know if it's a part of the writing that felt terrible, that they'd make comments and then the scene would just cut to something like really broken, bad dialogue. That I'm like, is this bad voice acting or is it bad production or is it both?
Yeah. When we get to the spoiler part, I want to talk about some things like some of the dialogue stuff that was like, what the heck is this?
Dialogue was really rough. And I don't remember it being that bad in the other games.
No.
I don't think
No,
it
they
had
were great
anything to do
because
with
they
the
all
main
had
actors.
like,
I hate,
again, Hollywood celebrities.
I hate the celebrities in the games. I hate them.
I think I like them in the Supermassive universe is what I think I've decided.
I like the B or C ones, like David Arquette in The Quarry, to me was a good choice.
Sure.
Like I liked him because also too, he wasn't huge in it.
No.
But like I like kind of B celebrities, in which Supermassive usually does.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. They're
takes
just
me out of it.
recognizable enough that I think they work in this setting because they're so cinematic that I think they're good. But I don't like it in, say, what is it, the Star Wars game, where all I can see, at least what I know him from, is whatever that show is. I can't think of the name of it, but like that, like that's his. Yeah, like that's his character to me, and that's all I see him as. And so in a game like that, I don't like celebrities, but I do in games like this because I think they kind of require a little bit of cinematic, integrity or artisticness.
But all right, let's speed this up a little bit because I want to talk choices.
I was trying to talk dialogue and all that a little bit.
Yeah, anything else you guys got for gameplay? I mean, I guess we could just get the spoilers at this point, but sound effects though, fine.
They do what they need to do.
Yeah, the voice acting is okay. Some of it was kind of iffy. The worst was Linda. I did not like her. I thought that actress was just very.
She's my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Easily my favorite character.
How?
I like her deadpanness.
Oh my god! See, for me, like in the '80s, I'm like, none of these people would be friends with this girl. She is so. Hey everyone, what's going on? I'm like who would everyone else is super bubbly. Who says, hey, let's bring that girl who's super monotone?
I think it's the reason why I like her so much is because literally that character does not exist in any of the Supermassive games. So
yeah, there's a reason for it. They're supposed to be a killer.
I'm kind of
her going.
I'm kind of into it because she gives a vibe, and you get this in certain movies. She has the vibe of she's the most self-aware and the most in control. And so I think her character becomes really interesting when you find out later on she has no control either. And she's just as out of it as everyone else is. But I kind of like how her story arc even kind of evolves a little bit because she's technically the most important character when you first kind of start out because she has something that they're all kind of connected to.
Yeah.
And I like that about her. I kind of like that she's a little, because she's not emotional. She's very kind of closed off. I like that a lot. I don't know. I was into her character. I thought it was awesome.
I mean, she's really the heart of everything they're there for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I liked her character a lot. She to me was actually the rare bright spot in it. Because every other character, I've seen them before. I've seen Chris's character before. I've seen Jaime's
Stan.
character before. I've seen it literally 1,000 times in Supermassive Games. I've seen it. The insecure.
Boy. I don't know. Like, look at Stranger. Well, I guess if you're going to say specifically the insecure, like, male character or whatever, like, I was say, like, Stranger Things. Like, I don't know. That was in, like, the 80s.
Who's also in Dead by Daylight.
Well, it's brought into Dead by Daylight, but it's, you have those very, like, angsty characters. I think it fits.
I don't think she's angsty, though. That's the other thing. She's not really. She's nerdy and closed off.
But I think that's how it gets perceived in that kind of, I don't know, like, if they're just like, oh, I don't know, they don't like any of they're introverted, quiet, introspective, whatever. And that's how she reads to me. And I don't think that's all that crazy for at least like 80s stereotypes. I was born in the 80s, but I don't remember them. But like,
I think her modern character, her 2024 character, was
and she also fits because she's a horror director.
I thought her character made the most sense. I thought she was the most fleshed out and interesting of the group.
The what's his name there? The movie buff guy. He's wicked annoying.
Yeah,
Stan.
Couldn't stand him. Yeah. The other girl,
Maddie.
who's more or less the main character, kind of annoying, kind of whiny.
Yeah,
like, I'm with Aaron. I think I liked her the most.
I know. I think she's.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Aaron. You're making good points, which is also making me sad because. Yeah, I didn't like her, and I didn't really like. It's making me realize. Yeah, I didn't like any of these characters. Actually,
no,
I was not rooting for any of them.
No, I thought. I thought the characters themselves were fine. I thought Linda was the most interesting. I thought she was the most dynamic and had the most interesting kind of backstory connecting everything. So to me, I was like, oh, okay. I'm kind of into. I like that she's not just obnoxious or over the top emotional about things. She's not like a. Because like Stan is like a character with this turtleneck, really obnoxious and annoying and in your face. Chris, the girl director, annoying, really over the top. But that's why I liked Linda's character, because Linda's character was one that was like, all right, I have not really experienced one like this. And I kind of like this character. She was the most grounded of everybody. And I like that about her. I liked her character a lot.
I didn't see much of his modern side, but I liked the sheriff too, actually. Yeah, I thought he was a good fit character in terms of like all those things, because he kind of fit, like, I don't know, just like he got overshadowed and he was the hero of everything in it. Yeah. And the other sheriff takes place for it. And like, I don't know if it's like a whole deeper thing, but like the racial aspect of it too, like he's like a black cop, and then like the white sheriff takes credit for everything he does. So he's like, and like even the son at points, like he's talking about how like, oh, my dad he would get drunk and talk about these things. Like it was like, it ate at him that he didn't get the proper credit for everything. Like I actually liked his character, and I thought there was a little more body to him than just being there.
Graphically though, game looked good. I wouldn't say great. Character models were kind of iffy on some areas.
They're always iffy to me though.
Yeah.
Like, this is where, well, you said you played Cloud, Aaron, right? I feel like this is where the Cloud really hurt. Yeah. Is there's a lot of times where I'm like, ooh, this does not look good.
A lot of really bad load in at certain points.
Yeah. There'd be points where if you waited like 5 seconds, all of a sudden it would sharpen out.
Yeah.
I downloaded it and I still got that.
Did you get a lot of like graininess too?
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, that's disappointing because I just assumed it was Cloud.
Because I played on the Series X with this. So yeah, graphics are just okay. As far as the achievements go, too, not great. You're gonna have to do a lot of obviously replaying. But the good thing about this is the chapters like this game is really good. It'll even tell you, hey, this chapter you missed these artifacts, these articles, stuff like that. So you can really kind of jump around and do all the collectibles pretty easily. There's obviously specific things. This character died this way. This character maybe shot this character or something. I don't know. But like, obviously, they're pretty easy to kind of replay a little bit. So
nothing beats the way the Quarry did it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty similar.
They're similar.
No, the quarry had. I mean, well, I don't know how they do it in this game, but the quarry was cool because like you could straight up be like, "Hey, just play me a random playthrough of this game," basically, and it
Yeah,
would
and
just
the director chair is what it was called in the quarry,
yeah,
which I
that
don't know
was.
if this one had it. Yeah,
But yeah, you could see at the end like it would give you all the stats and kind
yeah.
of
Which
see
this one
how
did.
everyone.
When you went to the cutting floor, it told you 80% of people chose this path, 20 did that path, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a super massive thing,
Yeah.
but that's cool. I
Uh
like that stuff.
yeah. So achievement hunters, yeah, you could probably easily 1,000 this game. It would just take you a little tedious work, but not the worst. So yeah, let's get into our final thoughts here for the casting of Frank Stone. As I said, this was a pass for me. I just honestly I found this pretty boring. It started off, as we said, very strong, but it just screeched to a halt. And I just didn't care for the characters. It wasn't until like the last hour where it's like, okay, this is kind of getting fun. They got rid of the gameplay of a Supermassive game, and the gameplay stuff they added of you using the camera, which gosh, that camera had a lot of plot holes to it. It just wasn't fun. I If you're really hankering for a Supermassive game, sure, this is one. But if you're going to play one Supermassive game, I would not pick this one. It just, to me, I couldn't recommend it to a Supermassive fan. I couldn't recommend it to a Dead by Daylight fan. Honestly, I think I had more fun playing Transference last week. So to me, this probably lands at a 67.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because I still think like Aaron kind of put it slightly different than I did, but I had alluded to the Supermassive games almost have a little bit of a roguelike aspect to me. Like it's not a genre that I'm like, oh, I love these narrative driven games, but I generally like these, and they kind of started it out like I'm expecting to enjoy it, and I think the more we've talked about it, and maybe just Aaron yelling at me is really made me realize that I don't think I like this, but I still feel like I want to finish it, and I don't hate it still. So I think it's still a game, but it's I think a 70. Like that's like my bare minimum for giving a game a game. And
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. This is a tough one. I kind of echo a lot of what Andrew was saying there. I still like these games though, so I'm excited to see the next one that Supermassive have. I would prefer that they just kind of stick to their own stories. I think that that just seems to be better for them, at least historically speaking.
Yeah.
Here, um, I I think Andrew is probably fair. I would probably stick with a 67. It's like the first 35 to 40 minutes and the last 35 to 40 minutes, somewhere in that range, are pretty good. Everything else is pretty forgettable, which is kind of a bummer.
Thank you all for joining us. I want to talk some spoilers here. Kind of keep this kind of quickish because I really want to know. So I'll give you a few minutes to pause or whatever if you don't want to ruin any part of the story. But so obviously, Keith, you didn't finish it. But the first question I want to ask you guys is who has died in your game?
Just Jaime. Which thank God, hated him.
Oh, I hated how he died. Like he died in mine too.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, I liked how he died actually.
Kind of brutal. Yeah, just like
it. Well, that
so
was
he died in yours too, Aaron.
Yes,
and that's what I was talking about. Was I was like, nothing happens, and all of a sudden that cutscene in the detail actually of the arm falling separately from the body was such a cool kill scene. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I
see, but to me that death didn't feel earned. It was so sudden of just like, he's gone. Oh, it's like, okay.
The whole felt like I should have had one more quick time event to like choose that.
The sequence before it was atrocious.
Yes.
Did you break up with her?
Oh my God. No, which irritated me.
Well, she broke up with me.
She was being awful. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she's like, oh, you're being jealous. I'm sorry, but what girlfriend is rubbing another dude? She's constantly rubbing his arm, his back, like the other guy. And it's like, no, you're definitely flirting with this dude.
So I broke up with her.
Especially in high school. Like, let's be honest.
I broke up with her, and this is one of those ones where the dialogue just didn't know what to do. So she's like, are you saying we're over? And he's like, yeah, I think we are. And then she's like, all right, well, I'm going to keep taking pictures. He's like, yeah, of course. Yeah. And then she's like, yes, and I was like, that was it? That was how that goes? So everyone died in mine except Sam.
Jeez.
Sam's the only one that makes it out.
Wait, the sheriff?
Yeah. Only one that makes it out.
So for me, Linda and Maddie lived in the main one. And then in the past, it was the cop, his son, and then basically only Jaime and Bonnie died. That family basically got screwed.
Okay, yeah. And I think they have to die. Well, I don't think Jaime does, but I think Bonnie definitely.
No. If Jaime lives, he gets hooked, and it doesn't kill him because there's an achievement for that, where you free Jaime from being hooked. So I think that's the thing is, yeah, Bonnie dies if she gets hooked, but if Jaime's still alive, he'll get hooked and he'll still live.
Okay, so the only people that lived there, and then, I mean, because gosh, I just want to get into some of these story beats that are just like, what the heck?
Yes.
But,
oh my God. Yeah.
I made literally like the worst possible decisions. So obviously, I tried to save, what's her, Chris,
the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, get sliced in half. So who was the next?
It seemed like that was supposed to be the right choice. That's why that irritated me. Like, I remember in the quarry, there was a girl, I hated her. And like, clearly you could hear a monster and it was like, do you want to go in that room? And I was like, heck yeah, let's get rid of this girl. I specifically killed her. But this didn't feel earned. It felt cheap. And I was like, okay, that's dumb.
It did, because again, because of where it lands in the game, you've never been presented with this boss or this villain face to face. So you're kind of like and then you're trying to save someone's life. Yeah, it seemed a little.
I kind of felt like I was gonna die if I made that choice.
I couldn't really figure it out. Like because he hadn't done anything yet.
True, but as the flee option,
I actually didn't think he was the danger. I thought the danger was I was going to get sucked into the portal too.
Yeah.
I thought that was the danger. Because
they don't do a good job of making that thing physical until it stabs you. Like
that's what I'm saying.
And even when it stabs you, it feels like it's like this weird ghost stab.
You're actually presented with a bunch of mysteries. I've never seen this portal beftal, so I don't know what this portal is. And now I'm presented with a ghost Frank Stone, and I've never been presented with him either.
Isn't there a portal at the end when you open the door?
You mean
Dead by Daylight?
No, you run out like in a field.
Yeah, so
I literally don't think there's, unless they added it, there's never a portal in Dead by Daylight.
So because of that, you're presented with two things in front of you that you have not experienced yet. So I don't know what saving her is actually. What's the danger? Is it the portal sucking me in now, or is it Frank? I'm not really sure.
Why was there a portal there?
So again, we can get into the story elements here in a minute, but I'm trying to think of the next one who died for me. The next one that died for me is after Frank comes into the room. I
grab Stan.
I should actually add this too. Did you pick up Sam's journal or gun?
Gun.
Did you keep it?
And I kept the gun, yes.
Okay.
I never used it.
Okay, so all right, well, that's good. So now you're basically confirming what I was afraid of. So Stan doesn't die next, Linda dies next. Because think about what you were presented for with Jaime. If I approach, I die. If I flee, I live. So here, Linda's getting sucked in, and you're Sam. Do you save her, or do you flee? Well, flee. I don't want anyone to die. Nope, Linda dies. Crap! Now I just lost Linda. Then, Stu, or whatever his name is, Stan, he gets killed.
Yep.
When Frank goes into the room. I'm then running around as the girl. And this one I did just kind of panic on. So Sam shows up and he's like, run away. He tells you to run away. And I was like, no, I'm going with you. Immediately my neck gets snapped. I'm dead. So that leaves Sam and Chris. Okay. These are my last two. It randomly cuts back to Chris, who I forgot was even there. She then sees the screen.
Wait, Chris was still in the future with you?
Yes.
You didn't send her back in the past?
No. Linda has to die in the future.
Okay.
Right? Linda doesn't die in the past. She can't die in the past.
No, I kept Chris in the future.
Well, you find out, Keith, that past is a different past.
Oh,
it's
dude,
an alternate universe.
Again, the story gets
Yes.
really
Oh,
stupid.
so it just gets
and it's all alternate universe crap.
Yes.
This just it and they make little allusions to that. Like he picks up the book, he's like, "Oh, an Omniverse." Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
stuff's all
Which before you said this is how the entity starts. No, this is how the entity enters this universe.
yes.
The entity's been there. So that's what I mean of like, it didn't add anything for Dead by Daylight fans. It's just now the entity's in this universe, which is lazy. It's like, for me, I'm like, that doesn't add anything.
So, all right. So Linda's alive in modern times.
Yeah.
So she was in the room when everyone was getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
So randomly it cuts back to her and she's there and I'm like, oh, she didn't get killed? Like, did they kind of forget about her? So she sees the screen and she decides to go touch it for some reason. She realizes her arm can kind of go in. And that's like, do you want to leave or go in? And I was like, well, let's go in. No, it just kills her.
This is like past Linda?
No, this is her. No, I'm sorry, Chris. This is young Chris. And she just gets fried. Another reason why that one pisses me off. Like, none of this game makes sense.
Yeah.
I gave her the talisman, which was supposed to protect her. And when she dies, the talisman, I don't know if this was a Dead by Daylight thing, it turned into like this stone with these green etchings on there. And I'm like, all right, so she's dead. So Sam was the only one left. So Sam was the only one that made it out.
See, all right. So for me, Chris, yeah, you find her in the sarcophagus, you free her.
Yeah.
And she's like, she looks at Maddie and she goes, Bonnie? No, Bonnie's my mom.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, what if we send you back home? Go back to the sarcophagus. And I sent her back home. And I was like, what was the point of that? She literally came up and like, there was no exposition. There was no explanation of like,
So
oh,
I'm
from the past. No, she just went back and then she was back in the past and continued the adventure with everyone. But I was like, what was the point of that? Literally, she goes to the future and you look like Bonnie. Yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah,
oh,
why
weird.
would they leave that as an option?
Send me back.
I literally, I don't want to say finish, but like stop playing this game literally as it goes off the rails.
Oh, it goes.
It
goes way
boring
off.
up until Jaime's death. I got Jaime's death. You go back into the atrium or whatever it's called. Like I did that puzzle. And
the Horrorgalium or something weird like that.
Yeah, that's where
really
that was it was like I quit when it goes back to the past on that next scene, which I assume is when all of a sudden everything starts to go buck wild. I really stopped at the worst time, and maybe the best time at
I mean, and it gets interesting.
I want to play this in the sense that I want to go watch the Ice Cube War of the Worlds. Like, it sounds complete nonsense. Everything you have just said, it doesn't not make sense to me because I haven't played it, because none of those things make sense in a storyline.
It doesn't. Why does the portal exist? No clue.
Yeah.
Why does it have Chris? Like, what was the point of that? Never gets explained.
Why did it open at Chris to take her?
Yeah, none of that gets explained. So she comes out of there for what? What was she supposed to be in there for at all? Never gets explained.
The camera. Why does it summon Frank but also subsequently kill him?
Yeah, I don't understand what the camera's doing at all in this. That makes no sense at all. So again, the talisman. I hand her the talisman. She gets completely fried anyway, and it did absolutely nothing because the talisman is.
Yeah, my talisman. So I didn't have Chris in my world. So Maddie finds the talisman, but she's with Stan.
Yeah.
And she explains, oh, I read a book about this. This can protect you. Stan's like, can I have it? I gave it to Stan. So in that scene where Frank comes out, so I had the sheriff sacrifice himself. So he's in the guy's chest.
Yeah.
In which he stops the Frank a couple times. But yeah, he corners Stan. He starts coming up to Stan, and Stan holds up the talisman. And Frank stops and like recoils. And he's like, ooh, you see the talisman, and it's like kind of working. Then Stan goes, go fetch, and throws it. And then Frank looks at the talisman, then back at Stan, and then just kills Stan. So it's like, what was the point of that?
Yeah,
like, what? Like, it looked like it was working. I thought I gave it to the right person. Then it was just like, nah, he's dead.
No.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what?
In mine, Maddie got to pick between the three who got it. And so I gave it to Chris because it's like, well, she just ended up in this world and she's all sorts of confused. I'll give her the talisman as like a sign of good faith. And it built our relationship. Little good that did us.
What's the point of relationships?
No. Yeah. So then let's see. So Frank comes into this world. He's supposed to kill people as a blood sacrifice that brings the entity. So, yeah, again, I take the gun, but I assumed I just never got to use the gun because Linda gets killed in mine. But you're saying she doesn't use it anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that happens somewhere.
There is an achievement, yeah, where I think Sam actually shoots Maddie. I saw that's an achievement called Friendly Fire. Then there's an achievement called, I can't remember what it is, but it's I think Linda shoots Sam.
Interesting.
But it's like,
so that's okay. So here's another interesting story thing. So they allude to this Sam is not from your timelines. Linda picks up on, again, this is why I like Linda. Linda picks up on the fact that, like, hey, you're supposed to be like 80. You barely look older than me. You're not our version of Sam. You're somebody else. They don't address that, really.
Yeah. Where did he come from? But he's been in this universe because apparently Stan interacted with his son.
Yeah, but what
is the portals? I mean, I don't know. Are the portal? Because again, I didn't finish it. But are the portals sending people through these different universes?
No one explains the portals.
Not explained.
No one knows anything. Like, there's just there's one random portal that sucks up one girl, and that's it. That's the portals. So it doesn't make sense. So Sam shows up. So this is kind of what I wish these games would do. I like in the quarry that you could see the future with things that you're collecting. I thought that was a cool implementation. To me, what I would love to see is that there are just items you can find that will alter your story. This game seemed to imply that there were. I remember at one point when you are the teenagers, you end up in this one spot when you guys are trying to get into the factory. I walked around and I found like a crowbar.
It did nothing.
You never used the crowbar at any point as Linda. And to me, I like the idea of, oh, you went and searched for something. Well, this might give you a different path in the future because you have it.
Oh, so it does. There's an achievement to open the grate with the crowbar.
The grate,
you can use it.
Okay,
I guess so. But I don't know if that's actually when you're Sam the cop in the way past.
I mean, but you did do that.
But there's an achievement.
Yeah, and so it's just there. That to me, I think would be an interesting way of doing this. Instead of just stupid trinkets, don't give me the trinkets. Either give me the thing that kind of alters like things I might know about the story, or things that might, like, maybe there's a situation where I did make a bad choice and I should die there, but boom, I have this thing that saves me from it. Like, I think that is an interesting way of doing it. Sorry.
Yeah, fully agree. And like I said, to me, this just feels like the issue was they were trying too hard to be Dead by Daylight. They really wanted to keep reminding you this is Dead by Daylight universe. If if they just did the teens in Frank Stone and kind of built from that, maybe a little bit of future stuff. But if they literally just did the teens with Frank Stone, I think it would have been a way better game.
Well, that's what it could have been. It could have been like the four of them kind of always up against him and like cutting to the future story to like fill in the gaps around that.
I'm okay with the premise of this. I'm okay with the different timelines. It just is poorly implemented. That's really the problem.
Oh my God.
I don't, like I said, Andrew, you have two ways of doing this. You can do a Frank Stone story and it just be about a killer. Sure, we've seen that already. They've made that game like 5 times already. Or you make something that's much grander about the entity. And I think that that's a much more interesting route. This is just not the way to do it. It just wasn't. It was.
But I feel like they didn't explain much of the entity.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't execute on anything they needed to execute on. And that's where it just kind of sucks. Man,
there was another dialogue option that really just annoyed me. I just remembered. So when you're playing this to teenagers, you're playing as Jaime. And Chris, the girl, finds out about Frank Stone, and she's talking, and she finds all these news articles, and Jaime's like conflicted. Hey, these are real people. Like, I feel bad about this. We shouldn't be exploiting dead people.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be trying to find Frank Stone stuff. This is kind of wrong. Oh, come on. No, we need to do this. This will make our movie great. You find the room, and instantly she switches.
Yep.
No, guys, this is a crime. She needs to stop. And Jaime's like, but this is our movie. Yeah. I think they completely forgot which character stood where, because then she's now videotaping one of the hands.
Yep.
I need this for my movie. And he's just like, that's wrong. And it's like, they flipped again.
And that's when they break up
3 times.
That was what pissed me off so badly. And like, I think you had I think I had the option as Chris to like not side with, what was Sam's son? I forget his name.
Robert?
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah,
Robert,
with Robert. Like, I think you give the option to not side with him, be like, no, I just want to look around. But I took the option of being like, yeah. And immediately, exactly what you said, like, Jaime's the bad guy, but then immediately he's yelling at her for the thing she just yelled at him for. Because, like, I even got his logic, because it was this whole like, all right, no, he's gonna like try to win her over by being like, no, it's for the movie, let's really, screw you, I don't like him. Like, his motive made sense in that moment, but then the very scene is her just being like, nah, I'm just gonna it's fine, it's for the movie, I'm gonna touch and do whatever I want,
which is also dumb. That legitimately would cancel your movie. To have a real human severed hand in your movie as evidence, that would cancel your movie.
I mean, it did feel like it was playing on like all these horror movies that give you the like previews of like, people walked out of this movie in tears and went to therapy, and they were like, yeah, people were literally just beating the crap out of each other after watching this movie.
They never explained that.
Nope. That never.
I just assumed it had something to do with Frank Stone and the camera. Right now, again, I assumed it was going to get to that. It's disappointing that it doesn't. But that was to the point I was at. I assumed it was like that was what it was.
Okay, so at the very end, literally the entire time to scare away Frank Stone, you videotape him, and eventually he just disappears and runs away. But whatever reason, the last time the video camera captures him, doesn't explain why. It's just this time the camera captured him. So he's in the film, but they show you, they process the film, and they see Frank Stone is in the film, and they split the film up in 3 segments. We don't want to destroy the film because it might free him. So let's just split it. Don't let the film get together. So how do people see the film? How do people go mad if they have the copy with Frank in it and they never play it because they know he's in it, so they never play it?
But
it makes no sense.
I just assumed that was why they had different timelines. So in that timeline, they split it up into pieces, but that was not in every timeline. So that's how I interpreted that, because.
But then she could have summoned him from a different movie then.
No, they do address that she basically, because Linda walks into a room and it's just got
all the other
piles and piles of the movies from different terras, so different Earths, and different props that aren't quite the same props. So she says that they were looking for like the perfect manifestation of Frank Stone.
Oh yeah, that's
so
right.
So their version was the perfect manifestation of him. So they do kind of explain that as well. So she's collected all of them looking for the perfect manifestation of Frank. Theirs was it. So I think that's how that one kind of gets explained, is just in that timeline it was cut up, but it wasn't in the others.
Yeah, I think anytime a game deals with not only time travel but alternate universes, it gets so muddy.
It's wonky.
It's because it's like a MacGuffin. It's like a thing you can do to kind of get yourself out of a bunch of scenarios, is you can just kind of chalk it up to different times.
Yeah, Marvel did it so well, sense. But also did it so bad in so many ways.
Well, like you suffered with it too.
But yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, there's so many points where you're like, man, they really did a great job of this. But then there's also so many holes you can poke in it, because, like you said, it's an easy way to just explain your way. Mark Ruffalo, for example, like there's like timeline. thing
someone can
or
just
something.
be alive, and like because of timelines.
Like the alternate universe, I guess, makes sense with it being a Dead by Daylight, because they got to explain, the IPs. How is Stranger Things part of this universe? How is The Walking Dead?
I mean, I always assumed it was some sort of weird multiverse. Like, I said, I described it at the beginning as like a Super Smash Brothers horror. Like, it's a weird mishmash of IPs.
And that's what I mean of why it's muddy, like why I don't like that it was so heavy on Dead by Daylight. If they literally just had the ending of like, oh, these people at the very end, these survivors, Frank Stone gets transported to the Dead by Daylight. That's the portal. But to have it like in the middle, it just makes things muddy.
Like he just walks into like a heaven scene, and there's just all the other IP of killers, and it's just like,
that is the ending piece that you didn't see.
Frank.
They end at the loading screen. They end at the survivors gathering at the campfire, and the villain is in the bushes looking at the survivors. That's the loading screen of the game.
So then the narrator kind of steps in and says, like, these killings persist as a way to feed the entity. So again, it kind of leads into the game because you walk up to the campfire and none of them address you. They're just like sitting around the campfire, and then you see Frank Stone in the background, and that's how the game ends. So again, not the worst way to end it. You know what it kind of reminded me of? And it made me think like, man, I wish they leaned into it a little bit more. It's Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Where like that concept of they have to feed the monster.
I mean, that's kind of what I thought this game was going for. Is a
in a way, and that's where it kind of felt like, it would have been cool if it kind of leaned into more of that thought of like, this is really just
it's more
like a giant religion running in the background that is using these monsters to feed the big monster, because that's kind of what this was. But it was so poorly executed, because you don't learn about any of that stuff until you get to the point of the game that you're getting at, Keith. And like I said, that's like the last 35 minutes. Everything we just told you that was wacky, that like just happens really fast, and then the game's over. And you're like, why? What? I've got so many more. But yeah, the plot, there's just plot holes galore. It was rough. Oh, okay. Oh, another one. So you go into the Curiosities shop.
Which I chose to go there first. Did you guys do that?
I did too.
Yeah.
I go to the Curiosity shop first. I haggle with her. She gives me the mirror.
Yep.
What does that become? Where does it get used?
I said no to the mirror because I was like, this lady's evil. She literally has all the Dead by Daylight stuff. She's clearly got to be evil. I did not take the mirror. But yeah, I don't know what happened to it.
I had it. I couldn't tell you what happened.
I didn't get any.
It brought good luck. Who had it? Was it Maddie or
Maddie
Linda?
Took it, yeah.
No, Chris had it.
Chris, that's right, because it was in the past.
So Chris had that, and she had the talisman, and still ends up getting fried by a movie screen.
Did Chris have the money?
Chris has
the money. I thought Maddie had the money. So I thought Maddie
is not.
I guess it doesn't matter. You're right. Never mind.
Linda's in the 80s.
Linda.
She doesn't take
for me.
She doesn't.
Jaime had the money.
Who's the one who
Chris
goes
does
by
the
the
negotiating? Chris hands.
Oh, Jaime did the negotiating for me.
Really?
Yeah. I asked for $20 and she gave me $20, which that also irritated me because. So she was like, I'm an executive producer. I'm giving you guys $20. I'm an executive producer. And they're like, we agree. This is great. Then when she meets you guys in the middle, you guys are like, what are you doing here, Bonnie? Get out of here. This is our movie. And it's like, she literally funded the movie and said she was the executive producer. She, if anyone, should be there, not Robert. Robert just kind of tagged along more of anything.
Yeah. So, game was a mess. It had... Yeah, it got so wacky at the end, and those plot holes just started flying at you.
I know.
Flying.
And that's what just blows my mind. The core to me just felt so better built.
Tight. Yeah.
Yeah, with like the universe, what was going on.
Which is how to do a choose your own adventure. Like it just, there didn't feel like I got to a thing like, oh, that was kind of a throwaway. Everything felt meaningful.
No, because here's where I think the issue was. I could see why on paper you'd be like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we made a story-driven game based off of Dead by Daylight, so a prequel to it. I could see where on paper that's fun.
Yeah.
But you can almost see where that pigeonholes them, because it's kind of like you said, Andrew, like Dead by Daylight's everything now. It's got all these IPs attached to it. So how do you properly build a narrative-based game that leads to it? Well, of course, alternate universes is how you're going to write it. And the problem is you now, where you were probably really strong building a narrative game, you're now pigeonholed to try and fit it into this world. And then it just becomes a disaster because it just doesn't make sense. So it just,
and I can't imagine like we at least kind of know Dead by Daylight. I was hoping you didn't know anything about it, because like we're already confused. I could not imagine someone who has no idea what Dead by Daylight is playing this game. I'm like, this must be like so out of left field.
When you said in the Curiosity Shop there was a bunch of Dead by Daylight stuff in there, I didn't know that.
It clicked with me in retrospect, but it didn't click with me when I was looking at it. And when Andrew said, I was like, oh, I think I remember seeing some of this stuff, but no, I completely passed over it.
The TVs in the Curiosity Shop, you turn a TV on and you see a hallway. Later in the game, you find out that's the hallway in the manor. You find that same TV and you go, oh, why is this TV on? You turn it off.
The Curiosity Shop.
Never explained.
Nope. Just two TVs. Literally two TVs, and that was it.
They're connected somehow. That's it.
Yeah, it's a mess.
All right.
Showing that the Omniverse exists.
I guess. which you know at that point anyway, but whatever. All right, I guess we'll finally finish up here. Thank you for listening to our spoiler segment of this. Oh, I forgot to shout out at the beginning of the episode. Heather commented on our transference episode, which I thought was actually pretty funny. She said, pro tip, be a scaredy cat who has to sit quietly after jump scares. You get an extra hour of gameplay, so it's extra value. It's like that's a solid strategy. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Please make sure you go to GamePassCrowd.com, check out our website. I will also have our link tree, join our Discord, write comments on our Spotify, whatever, say hi to us. We always love talking to people. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. Yeah.
Hit the music.
Okay.
Was it?
You can say please. This was Keith was here and Aaron was here.
I don't need to tell you that. They listened to bathroom.
They were very angry at each other, which was a nice change of pace, but they were yelling at me. But yeah, we love you all. We'll see you again next week. Something.